Welcome to Your Life Story, a space to explore the journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from the expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices and thriving after life's challenges. But this isn't just my story, it's about life, from relationships and self-discovery to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. Before we dive in today, we have just a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on the personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. Well, welcome. I am so happy to have you here today, again, to be able to enjoy the time we have to be able to speak what is important to us. Today, I will be talking about you were never selfish, you were surviving. I'm excited because this is one of my YouTube shorts that went really viral for me, and it's exciting because I would love to be able to speak with you about this. You know, the simple truth is something that is so important that was resonated with all of you guys because so many of us carry guilt. Not because we did something wrong, but because we were trained to think that taking care of ourselves was wrong. This is so tough and it's so hard to get off our minds, but we're going to talk about it. It's going to be good. Maybe someone in your life used the word selfish to keep you small. Maybe they got angry when you rested, when you said no, when you took a breath for you. I want to unpack this today because it's time to forgive ourselves for being in survival mode, and it's time to start truly living. Let's talk about guilt. There's a very specific kind of guilt that forms when you've been manipulated into thinking that your needs are a burden. Maybe you were the caretaker, the peacemaker, the one who held it all together. And every time you thought about doing something kind for yourself, a voice in your head whispered, "Don't be selfish." But here's the truth. You were never selfish. You were in survival mode. You were pouring from an empty cup because someone made you believe. And I want you to hear that again. Someone made you believe that you didn't matter, or that if you mattered, others wouldn't love you. Hear that again. Or that if you mattered, others wouldn't love you. So you stayed quiet, you stayed busy, you stayed exhausted. That's not selfishness. That's trauma response. And I want you to hear this. You don't need to feel guilty anymore. It's so important. I want you to hear these things, whether it is you hear it at work, at church, your home, or even with other family members, or any type of activity where someone is looking to make sure they're benefiting from you, and they don't want you to see your worth or that you as a human being also has needs. Why? Because they want a personal assistant, and heaven forbid you voice, "Oh, you know what? I'm at capacity." And then they have a fit. We'll talk further about that one. It actually happened to me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to have you manipulate me to think that my needs don't matter and that only yours matter. You know, we're in a society where people unfortunately feel that way. So let's break it down here. What does it actually look like Survival mode is sleeping but never feeling rested. Giving but never receiving. Smiling while inside you're screaming. Saying, I'm fine, when your body is shutting down. Or one of my favorite is, yep, I'm a boss. I can kill this. I can move this. Don't worry, I can do whatever you throw at me. And inside you're exhausted, burnout, and tired. And the reason you say it is because you do not want to be let go. For me, survival mode looked like this. Make sure everyone else was okay, even if I wasn't. Because heaven forbid, I had needs. Apologizing for having needs. How many times have we said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you needed this. Oh, okay, I'll go get this. I will do this right now. I'll drop everything and I'll do everything for you. But you know what? Turn it around. I want you to turn it around. And you will see how somebody will voice their boundary, even if they're toxic, and they're going to be like, no. But then why do you have to do it? Right? I couldn't even take a walk alone without worrying someone would call me selfish. I couldn't sleep. Heaven forbid I take a break. Or I'm investigating something. Or, you know what? Just plainly, I'm exhausted because there's so much to do at home, right? And I see this in so many of you. So many listeners write in and say, I feel bad for taking a day off. I feel guilty when I spend money on myself. I feel like I have to explain why I'm tired. Sound familiar? Because here's what no one told us. Survival mode isn't just emotional. It becomes physical. Your body starts to store all that guilt. Your nervous system gets stuck. Your health suffers. And then here we go, trying to do a whole bunch of, miracle cures, supplements, whatnot, just so we can have that. But how about if we just took some time for ourselves, right? But the beautiful thing about survival mode, it's meant to end. It was never meant to be permanent. And for me, I've had that for so many years. And now that I am investigating more, looking into so many things, I now noticed that I had always put myself, maybe not even last. It didn't even exist. And just the feeling of being tired and exhausted, burnt out, made me feel like maybe I wasn't the best optimal human in the world. And that people were going to think that I had no value. Excuse me. But when did we start having value for how many bells and whistles we have and how much we can keep going? Even our phones need to recharge. So why can't we recharge? And our phones do a lot for us as well. People who are emotionally unhealthy often project their control onto us, right? They want you to stay small, quiet, available. So when you say, I need rest, they say, you're being dramatic. When they say, I need space, they say, you're selfish. But listen, anyone who makes you feel bad for taking care of yourself is not someone who loves you well. They don't have your best interest. All they want is their results, and they don't really care. And I'm not having that anymore. Real love celebrates your healing. Real love wants you to be okay. What they were doing was conditioning you to abandon yourself. And the longer you stay in that space, the harder it becomes to trust your own needs. You question yourself, but you can relearn it. You can unlearn the voice and return to your own. I actually had that happen to me at a workplace where I was just bombarded with so much, and people were getting upset because I couldn't respond back within the 1 second that I received their inquiry to ask for something. They wanted me to drop everything and get them the answers. And they didn't want me to be able to get any credit for it, and they just wanted all the credit. And I was just like, wait a minute. That doesn't work that way. You can't just be that disrespectful. And you know what the sad thing is they even came back and said, I don't like it when you're being disrespectful to me. Or, I know you're at capacity, but we all are, but I want you to do this. And I was just like, no, you can't do that. I mean, at least from what I know in other places, we give a certain amount of turnaround time, a level of respect. And then even if the person forgets, they do a little reminder and says, hey, just touching back. Were you able to get this information? And you go, oh, yeah, let me get this for you, right? Oh, no. They were upset because they said, no, I shouldn't have to because I'm way too busy. And my jaw just dropped because I was like, maybe they thought I was just sitting there waiting for them to send me, some type of question so I can go running, head on. I guess maybe they thought I was a assistant or a clerk or something that was just there to help them. No. I made sure to say no. I have boundaries, and they didn't like it. So that told me right off the bat who they were. So the next thing is guilt lives in our body. Guilt isn't just emotional, it's somatic. It lives in your shoulders from carrying too much. Those shoulder pains that go all the way to your neck, to your head, and now you have a headache, your arms hurt, everything. You feel sick. Your chest from holding your breath. Why? Because we start doing shallow breathing, right? Your gut from ignoring your intuition. So now you haven't eaten or you haven't gone to the restroom. You're not eating correctly because you're just go, go, go. Now you have gut issues. I used to have constant stomach issues. Oh, my back hurts. Sitting in a chair for 9 hours. Heaven forbid you get up and stretch, right? Because now everybody wants an answer right away. It takes a toll. I heard that if you're not in constant movement, the type of lubricant that your spinal cord has and your backbone for your discs start just drying up. So now what you end up having is herniated discs. And that is the most painful thing you can have. And so I believe there has to be some type of, boundary put in place. You have to be able to have an even amount of level of work and rest and taking care of you, because if not, it starts showing up. I thought it was falling apart, but really, I was carrying years of emotional neglect and guilt in my body. And when I finally started saying, no, I can't do that. Yes, I'm resting today. I deserve love without overworking for it. My body started to heal too. It's crazy. I've taken up running, and I can tell you the very first times I did it, I thought I was going to pass out because it was a lot of endurance. My legs hurt, my arms hurt. I just wanted to quit every second, and I couldn't breathe. And I can tell you today, I was so proud of myself. I didn't get to go out on my usual early morning run, so I decided to hit the gym and get onto the treadmill. And I was so happy. I was able to continually run. I did my 5K, and I was just running. I wasn't crying. Nothing was hurting. I was able to breathe. I actually felt like I was bouncing in the air, and it felt great. When I was done, I was just like, wow, I've come a long way from how I felt. And I'm not going to lie to you. I started probably 2.5 months ago. And because of all the guilt that was told onto me that, oh, now you're working out instead of doing your work, as a wife, as a mother. And don't get me wrong, I was doing all of that, but I also wanted to take care of my body because we have one vessel, right? And that is our body. And without that, how are we supposed to make it around? And to me, I've made it a point that I am going to lose weight. I'm going to get strong, lean, and I'm going to live my life how it should have always been lived as a healthy human being. And I'll let you know how my progress goes. And hopefully, you can start your journey as well. You can, comment any of the things that you have done now that you know that you're healing. What are you doing? Exercises, diet, supplementation, anything, meditations, motivational videos, or anything. It's wonderful how much you can help yourself. So another thing that I have here is, as far as my healing, the real change happened when I forgave myself. Not for doing something wrong, but for abandoning me. I had to forgive myself for believing I wasn't worth care, staying quiet to avoid being judged or punished, saying yes when I wanted to scream no. I love saying no now. I just have to be careful because I have to pay attention when I'm saying no to, because you get so excited to be able to say no. Now, the person who doesn't like it when you say no, you automatically know that there's some type of personality issue there, toxicity, abusiveness, and you can make your decision to step away. It happened in moments where I chose myself, one small action at a time, like making tea without rushing, taking a nap without explaining, saying, I matter, and I'm believing it. So here's the steps to start taking care of yourself again. If you're in that place now, stuck in guilt, afraid to care for yourself, start here. Physical. Ask, what would a loved body need right now? Water, movement, nourishment. Start small. You don't need to jump into this huge thing because then you'll shock your system as well. Emotional. Journal. Cry. Feel. Let what's been trapped come out safely. Validate your pain. It's amazing because it's something that releases from your body. I guess I would like to say it in a way, I know, I like cars, but, if the car doesn't release all the tension, it even has an exhaust pipe. Why can't we release our emotions that way? Our tears, right? Mental. Catch that old voice. You don't deserve rest. Replace it with the truth. Rest is my right. How am I supposed to, revive myself and be able to give my best optimal? I don't know about you, but sometimes in the morning, you can accomplish 1,000 times better than by the afternoon. So why won't they let you rest? Or yourself, right? Because you told you, how dare you're resting. Spiritual, breathe, walk, meditate, pray. Find stillness and reclaim your center. You don't need a full routine. You just need to make one small choice today that says, I matter. And that's what I did. I made sure that I mattered. Like I said, I did physical. I started doing my running, my walking. I have no excuse because if it's a bad day, guess what? Or it's too late, I have my walking pad now. I walk on it while I'm watching one of those walking tours on YouTube. And guess what? I'm walking wherever I want in the world and it feels great. So there is really no excuse of not being able to walk. Emotional. Like I said, I get to cry. I love it. And if you don't want to have those horrible red eyes, do it in the shower. I've always heard that women love to cry in the shower because you get to release everything and then you come out all happy. Journal. Once you journal it, I think is something that you're doing for yourself and for your future, for your lineage. It's important to note that down, so then people know that if they start feeling the same way, they shouldn't feel bad, that you're there for them and you know how to validate their pain. Mentally, you reserve the right, you deserve to rest. I love resting now. I mean, once I get up, it's like, wow, it's like a recharge. Mind's fresh. I get up and do more, right? Spiritual. I am doing my Bible lessons, my yearly one. I can't believe it. It's exciting because I believe it's important. Now that I read it for myself, I can actually see so many things that were never covered in any church that I went to or any denomination. And it's not to bash any of them. I think we should all take that due diligence, our responsibility to be able to study it well and know how to apply it to your life. Because the ones that I believe that are in any church is made to their ways. How can I benefit from others by what I can tell people? Always investigate everything. It doesn't have to be church. It can be anything from health or whatnot. Investigate it yourself. Sometimes we go to doctors and guess what? They get it wrong, but then you go ahead and research it, tailor it to yourself, and you actually feel better. If the doctor's saying no, stop, being a guinea pig. Well, last time I checked, they also use you as a guinea pig. But like I said, I cannot give you any medical advice or anything like that. I want you to take that responsibility in your life to make those decisions. So, what I do now that helps me heal. Now I practice choosing myself in small ways. I have a nice cup of tea in silence, a morning breath before my phone, a journal entry before the world asks for any time from me. And when guilt shows up, and sometimes it still does, I remind it, I'm not in survival mode anymore. You're not in charge here. So I think it's important that you guys take the opportunity to actually invest in yourself. We invest in so many. And if you're a mother, I think you should invest in yourself, because if you operate out of empty cup, what are you going to give your little ones? Invest in yourself, then you can be able to give to others, the ones that you care for, the ones that respect you and honor you, because those are the ones that will also reciprocate that energy back to you. I'm not talking about the toxic ones. I'll be honest with you, and it might sound funny, or I don't know. I always said, God, if this is your creation too, then you're going to have to take care of it. I'm not going to take care of it. I am not the parent here. You are. And for now, I'm going to remove myself from this situation because I believe I need to take care of myself. And if the other person is just sucking me dry and leaving me with nothing, I mean, what kind of testimony can I give to others if the other one is just devouring whatever is inside of me? And, my light, they're just, turning it off. It's not okay. So I said, you handle it. And now I want you to help me handle my life so I can give to my family, the ones that really do care, the ones that really do matter. So, like I said, I'm not going to say that I'm all the way healed. No, I still battle times where I feel selfish, especially when it comes to buying clothing for myself. It is the hardest thing for me to do. I feel like somebody's going to say, oh, you said you didn't have money, but guess what? Now you have this, and you're thinking, well, I'm sorry. I didn't know I had to have your permission in order to have clothing, because we all know that clothing, if you wear it so many times, it starts wearing away and you need to have something new. And yeah, do I like, I like to dress stylish. Why not? Just because you are struggling with your finances does not mean that you can't be styled correctly. It doesn't mean it's expensive, but you can get some really nice, pieces and make sure you look really great and you move forward, Same thing. Why am I going to feel selfish for actually getting me something to eat or a fruit smoothie? My goodness, isn't that much better than choosing something toxic that's not going to help my body. No, I want to be able, I'm not saying you're going to be out there grabbing a whole bunch all the time. No, because, I actually will start, looking for recipes and stuff like that. How can I take care of my body? And I think that's important for you as well, to make sure that you know what you're doing. So I'm happy that you have stayed this long with me. I think it's important that you start healing. Why? Because your needs matter. You matter for that fact. So I just want to say thank you. I think it's important that you have that voice. And I want to say thank you for joining me on today's episode of Your Life Story with Sajine. I hope it gave you something to think about, feel, or explore on your own journey. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share it with someone that might need this, because it's important and you need it as well. Until next time.